Hey, it's your boy Sean, and this is The Limit. Now, today's episode, I want to talk about the fastest cars in the world. Now, I want to start this list with a few honorable mentions because a lot of people put those at the end of the list, and I really don't want to do that. So, honorable mentions go to the LaFerrari, the P1, the 918 Spider, and the Devo, because they just fall right out of the category, especially the Devo with the 918 and the LaFerrari and P1 all having a top speed of 217 miles per hour, which are all the cars are limited to. So that's why they aren't on today's list. With that said, let's get this list started. Number 10, the Pagani Huayra BC. With a top speed of 238 miles per hour, the Huayra should have been a no-brainer for anybody who tuned into this list. The track-focused version of the original Huayra, the BC, is that much greater and better. Now, it probably goes without saying that the Huayra is the most visually stunning car on today's list. To its stunning interior, to its mechanical machined shifter, to how it looks with all the doors open. It's just crazy. Looks like nothing on this earth, and it's a very special car. Now, some people claim that the Huayra BC isn't as fast as Horacio Pagani claims. I don't know anything about that. Regardless of that, this car is still one of the fastest cars on the planet. At number 9, we have the legendary McLaren F1. Now, this is a car that truly speaks for itself. Released in 1993 by McLaren, the McLaren F1 was the fastest car for over a decade. And the fact that it's on today's list 26 years after its debut speaks volumes for this car's greatness. And at no surprise to anybody, the F1 is the only naturally aspirated car on today's list. The F1, the car that started the hypercar arms race, is still one of the fastest cars of today. At number 8, we have the Koenigsegg CCX. With a top speed of 245 miles per hour, the CCX is one of the fastest cars in the world. Now, if this list was solely based on cars' top speeds and their car variants, then this list would be full of Koenigsegg's and Bugattis and some other cars here or there. It would be very one-sided, lopsided, and boring. So I chose not to do that. The CCX came out in 2006 and it's the 10th anniversary for Koenigsegg, hence the X, the Roman numeral 10 in its name. Now, I must admit, I'm not really familiar with Koenigsegg's history, which is strange because I've been seeing these cars around for almost 10 years. Christian von Koenigsegg seems to be like the coolest dude in the automotive industry, and his cars are some of the most amazing. They're beautiful, bespoke, and very custom to whatever the customer wants, which is also amazing. I just don't know much about Koenigsegg, which I'll try to change in the future. Just know that even though it's 13 years old, the CCX is still one of the fastest cars in the world. Number 7, I would categorize as America's first foray into the hypercar ethos. Ethos? Am I even using that word correctly? Somebody grab a thesaurus or something. That's just what popped up in my head. But number 7 is the Saleen S7 twin turbo. With 750 horsepower and a top speed of 248 miles per hour, this car was a beast. And when it was released in 2005, there was very few cars faster than it. Except for maybe a Veyron, this car was the fastest car on the road at the time. Now, from what I hear, this car was an unruly hell demon. Like, people were afraid to drive this car. It didn't have any traction control, ABS, or any of the, modern safety features, which could probably be said for a lot of cars on this list. But this car was just brutal. It's like all the stories that people told about the Viper except realized, and this car is much faster than that old Viper could ever hope to be, and which makes it more dangerous, which makes it more, I don't know, special maybe. Some people like to be driven to the very edge and see how far they can go before they fall off. I'm not one of those people, by the way, but there are people like that. What I want to talk about is the beauty of this car. The design of this car is very exotic for an American car. So it can be said that this car is probably the best looking, or one of the best looking American cars ever created. And I can say that without, feeling like I'm lying or something. So this car is a beauty and a beast. A very cliche thing to say, but very true as well. At number 6, we have the Koenigsegg Regera. Remember that thing I said about this list almost being filled with Koenigsegg's and maybe Bugattis? Well, we haven't talked about a Bugatti yet, but here we are with another Koenigsegg. And yes, the Regera has a top speed of 249 miles per hour. Christian von Koenigsegg said the Regera is gonna be the most powerful, quickest car ever, and I believe him. And Koenigsegg invented a transmission for this car that is so intuitive, so insane that it would take an entire episode for me to explain it. And unlike other Koenigseggs, the Regera is supposed to be that luxury cruiser that also has an insane amount of speed. So there's a lot more going into this car. It's a lot heavier than the other Koenigsegg's. And even though it has that crazy top speed, it still isn't the fastest, which is really insane. Now, Regera means to reign, and one day I can see this car reigning supreme in the top speed category. But for today, it's only at number 6. At number 5, we have the SSC Ultimate Aero TT. With a top speed of 256 miles per hour, this car was the fastest car in the world from 2007 to 2013 when Bugatti came back with the Super Sport. The SSC stands for Shelby Supercars, and the Shelby has nothing to do with Carroll Shelby. It has everything to do with supercars. Now, I must admit, while this car was tearing up the roads and doing its thing and breaking records, I have fell out of love with supercars and cars in general. I wasn't keeping up. I knew this car existed, but I didn't know to what degree. I know it has a twin turbocharged V8 from a Chevy Corvette race car, but what I don't know is what happened to SSC after it lost the world record. They're supposed to be coming out with another car, which name I really can't pronounce, and which hasn't seen the light of day in I don't know how many years, so I don't know if it's coming or not. What I do know is this car was the fastest car for a while. Now, I would say the interior is not what I would call the greatest. It's very bare bones, very basic. I don't know if that's intended to have the car, be as fast as possible. It's just cost cutting. I couldn't say, and I really don't care. And I would also say the design is very, don't want to say Koenigsegg-esque, because the Koenigsegg's design, interior, exterior, is a beautiful car. This car is more on the, kit car variety. I don't believe it's a kit car. I don't think you can get a Chevy Corvette race engine for your kit car, but I could be wrong. Regardless, this car is one of the fastest cars on the planet and was the fastest car on the planet for a while. At number 4, we have the Bugatti Veyron Super Sport. No surprise, with a top speed of 268 miles per hour. Now, what can I say about the Veyron? It is the car that got a lot of the kids of today into sports cars, supercars, hypercars, any cars, and it is amazing. Now, a lot of people hate the Veyron. A lot of them say that it overstayed its welcome and probably needed to be replaced a long time ago. I don't know. I mean, we seen what Bugatti had cooking in the kitchen while the Veyron was still dicing up the streets, being the fastest car humanly possible. We seen what they were up to, and that's a better car. This car is still amazing. 10 years, 11 years, how many ever years it's been since its release. And I'll be the first to tell you, I am not a Bugatti fanboy. I'm a Ferrari fanboy. There's a bit of a difference. You know, the car is heavy for no reason. It has a ton of power to contend with that weight, and some people say it's not as quick in the corners, and which is kind of true if you ever seen it on a track. But it doesn't need to be quick in the corner. It needs to be fast in a straight line, which it is. And there's not too many cars that can keep up with that speed and beat it today. Well, except for the handful of cars that are above it. Which brings us to number 3, the Bugatti Chiron. Now, the Chiron or Chiron, however you want to say it, has a top speed of 261 miles per hour. Now, I know what you're thinking. How could it be number 3 when its top speed isn't as high as a Super Sport? Well, that's because its top speed is limited to 261 miles per hour, and Bugatti says it's faster than a Super Sport, so you best believe what Bugatti says. They just don't have any interest of making the fastest car in the world anymore. That's right, Bugatti's claim to fame the fastest cars in the world, and they no longer want any parts of that. I don't know if that's because they know they can't get that top speed with today's tire technology. They gotta hit that 300, and that's never gonna happen. So they just want to make the most luxurious, fastest cruising GT cars ever. They don't have any interest in that top speed, as you could tell with the Devo, which is about 30 miles slower than the Chiron. It makes no sense, but it's what's happening. Maybe one day Bugatti will return to its roots, but that day is not today. At number 2, we have a car that is all about getting that top speed record, the Hennessy Venom GT. Now, the Venom GT is a stretched out Lotus Estige with over 1,000 horsepower. While only weighing 2,700 pounds, this car is extremely light for how fast it really is. Now, there's a handful of issues with the Hennessy Venom GT, and that is essentially a loaded, and they only built 14, which means while this was the fastest car, it wasn't the fastest production car, because you have to have a certain number of cars built to be considered a production car, and this did not meet that criteria at all. And I personally don't feel this car is a kit car. It's more of a specialty type of car, custom made, tailored to their customers and the people that really want that fast, small, elusive automobile. My only beef is them saying it was the fastest production car ever. It wasn't the fastest production car. It was the fastest street legal automobile, but not the fastest production. But Hennessy is planning to replace this car in the near future with the Venom F5, which gets its name from the category of tornadoes and all that. I don't know what the top speed of that car is. I know what it looks like. And you know, I don't know if it's going to be the fastest car ever. It could be, or it could be about the same speed as our number 1, the Koenigsegg Agera RS. Now, I know a lot of you probably thought the 1-to-1 was going to be the fastest car on today's list, but this car edges it out, and they are essentially the same thing. This car has a top speed of 278 miles per hour, which makes it 7 miles faster than the last fastest car on today's list. Now, I've seen the unveiling of the 1-to-1 Regera and the RS at the New York Auto Show a few years back. Now, if I know what I know today, I would have recorded a video and started the channel back then, but I wasn't hindsight is 2020, let's just say that. Now, while I didn't get to get in the cars, you know, they have a whole area where you can't get anywhere near them. These are $1 million cars, and they're not gonna let you touch them or get in them. But I got a few pictures, and I was able to say that I was able to see these cars before a lot of YouTubers even knew they existed. So that's a little special story for me. A few years back, we seen the RS set a few records in the Nevada desert. Stratman was there for the whole event, got it all recorded for everyone. You know, big ups to him. He had the whole plug so he can be there. I, on the other hand, didn't even have a channel, but I enjoyed his video nonetheless, and the one that Koenigsegg posted up to their YouTube channel. And that whole event took place because Bugatti took the Chiron out and wanted to break a few records and show that they had the fastest car on the planet, had the quickest stop to whatever on the planet. And Koenigsegg was like, hold my beer. And they called up whoever had the car at the time and said, hey, bring the car through. We want to show Bugatti that no, we own the fastest car and we produce the quickest stopping car ever. And that's exactly what they did. And Bugatti didn't have any type of answer for that. They didn't even want no parts of it. They didn't even try to get their record back. They even said that they wanted no parts of the fastest car in the world. So that is that. So there you have it. The Koenigsegg Agera RS is the fastest car in the world for now, because Koenigsegg is unveiling the successor to the Agera at 2009's Geneva Auto Show, and I'm very excited to see what Koenigsegg has planned next. Now, we also have to remember that there are other companies out there that are claiming that they will have the fastest car in the world. On top of the Hennessy Venom F5, Tesla is claiming that they'll have the fastest car in the world with the new Tesla Roadster. I don't know how much faster that car will be than the Agera, but let's just say it's going to be an exciting time for car enthusiasts. And if you like videos like this, like, subscribe, share the video so other people can see it, so I'll know to make more videos like this one. And with that said, I like to bring this video to a close. So if you like the video, like the video. If you dislike the video, dislike the video. If you want to see what I got planned next, come see what I got planned next. I got a lot in store for this channel, and I want you guys to be there with me. With that said, I'll catch you next time.